Hey, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. Many professional women look like they've got it all together. Successful careers, beautiful families, and confident smiles. But if you're like me, you know that's just a real brave face. There's so much more to me that lies very deep in a very deep story. Childhood trauma is widespread and it's very impactful, just at the moment, but throughout my life. Well, I was growing up with reruns of Leave It to Beaver, and Andy Griffith painted this picture of wholesome American family where there were typical family squabbles, but the woman took care of the house and the macho husband went to work each day to provide for his family. Then the Partridge Family and the Brady Bunch came on TV, and it reinforced a life that I did not have. It reflected brothers and sisters who may squabble, but they still care deeply for each other, where being kind to one another was common. And mothers who disciplined their children always had the ability to listen and validate them as well. And that simply just wasn't my upbringing. If you can identify with this, hit the subscribe button. I'd love for you to be part of this journey with me. I came across a publication, a study recently by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention about adverse childhood experiences. And 1 in 4 women report experiencing sexual abuse in childhood, which I did. And over 60% of all adults report experiencing at least one adverse childhood experience. But what's interesting, women are more likely to report multiple types of experiences. Trauma, it affects our brain development, our emotional regulation, and our identity formation. And we have a tendency to repeat or to replicate what we experienced as children in our adult lives. Surprising, at least to me, many women who've experienced trauma become high functioning achievers. There's another study in the Journal of Traumatic Stress that found many traumatic survivors channel their pain into drive and ambition, often achieving far more than their peers. And these women excel in academics, careers, they become leaders, caregivers, problem solvers, often present as confident and composed. Yet inside, I know I am still dealing with anxiety, dissociation, and what is becoming known as imposter syndrome. I often think, what's the big deal that I have a doctorate degree? I think about, oh, I'm feeling anxious and I need to get a handle on this and I need to bottle it up because I need to present myself as if I'm all together. And when I look at my accomplishments, I kind of dismiss them by saying, oh, anybody could have done what I've done. When I read the American Psychological Association data, I found that 80% of women with trauma histories do not disclose their experiences publicly. And I thought, wow, that means that I'm probably not alone. I've carried this shame of trauma and abuse my entire life. I didn't want to offend my parents by talking about it, so I didn't. And now that they have passed on, I feel like I'm able to do so. I was afraid of people turning their backs on me, abandoning me if they knew my full story. So I kept my story close to my vest, kept my private life incredibly private. And many of us develop high functioning PTSD where we can maintain our jobs and relationships while quietly suffering. I have complex PTSD because I've been abused and traumatized continually since I was a very young child, until about 4 years ago, when I finally got the ability to say enough is enough. Sometimes in therapy, I talk about feeling numb about a person or event, I'm highly driven. Some would say perfectionistic. I keep my distance from coworkers, other than in my leadership role to support them, get them the help they need to complete projects. Emotionally, I'm isolated, and that's become the norm. I've often wondered why I've been able to bounce back, turn on a dime while holding in the hurt, the pain, and the trauma. I was really also surprised to read um, many trauma survivors display what's called post traumatic growth, and that's developing a deeper empathy, meaning, and strength. My concern as my empathy has developed is that actually makes me more vulnerable. And I'm learning that too much empathy can actually be detrimental to my own growth and safety. Women are statistically more likely to show resilience by caregiving, leading, and adapting despite emotional pain. And maybe this is why I've been successful in the special education field for the past 30 years. Caring for students and parents who are working to understand disability and to support their child. I now know too that resilience, though powerful, it's a substitute for healing. Resilience has actually allowed me to bury what needs to be healed. And healing begins when we acknowledge our pain and remove the shame, which I'm still working on. After much prayer and deep breathing, I decided to pull together a group of people I know, men and women, both personal and professional, who I trusted and I had known for quite a while. And I shared my story with them. And I prefaced that time with letting them know I was so afraid to share what I had kept so secret. I was afraid they would dismiss me, they would abandon me. Yet I learned that some people are not like my past. I learned that they were empathetic to my story and amazed at how resilient I have been to be able to push through so much. Finding meaning, purpose, and joy again is possible, and not in isolation, but in a safe, compassionate community. I'm in the process of selling my home in Reno, Nevada, and returning to my home state of California. I've already started looking for a new church, women hiking groups and meetups, and opportunities to teach at the local college. I've been exploring how I can comfortably go about meeting new neighbors. All of these things take a great deal of effort and planning for me to engage with members within a community. It's really hard work. I just keep reminding myself, though, this is all part of a whole well-being. Well-being from head to toe, inward and outward. We're more than what we've endured. I am more than what I've endured. I'm powerful, resilient, and worthy of joy. And you are too. So if you're moved by this, I would love for you if you would belong to our community group or another community group in your area. And I would love for you to share in the comments how you were able to make that connection. That'll help me grow. It'll help us all grow as we all work to learn how to engage in safe spaces again. Until next week, remember we matter and you matter. And hit that subscribe button below and join me on this journey. Bye for now.